Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another great episode of Basscast Radio. I'm your host, Brian Carter, and in the studio, we don't have a guest this week, guys. We just thought we'd do a conversation piece this week, and we're going to talk about 2025. It's right around the corner. Bass Geek, you guys aren't following the channel. There's going to be a lot of great things happening there in 2025. We can't talk about yet. They're going to be game changers. And boy, Thomas with fishing the DMV. So this is our welcome to 2025 episode, and we're recording on a Friday. It's a Friday afternoon, early, and I'm kind of enjoying this, to be honest. I feel,
I like this.
It does. If you want to go away, it screws up our Friday, but for me, it's really cool because I'm not doing 7:00 at night.
Way more energy.
Yeah, listen.
A whole lot more energy.
Listen, if we do them on Fridays, I can kind of vote for this. So.
Yeah.
We got a lot more energy. So, yes, that is the best part about it, too, because we haven't been in hell, our job for the last 9 hours for some of us, and 8 and whatever else it is. But, welcome to Basscast Radio. For you guys who are new to the channel, thank you guys for checking in and checking us out. We interview anglers from all over the globe. I will tell you guys this, our next episode, we will have an angler on with us, and we're going to talk about Bassmaster. But today we just thought we'd talk and have a conversation. Guys, been a lot happening. There's a lot going on here at the Basscast. We're excited for 2025. You guys, the boys talked me into StreamYard, even though it's going up. They talked us into it, which, our video has, we couldn't get the video quality that we were getting on the other network. And with this, we can record 1080p videos, 720, whatever we want to record. Actually, now a StreamYard I saw with a paid 4K video.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So if you want to record 4K video, you can now with StreamYard. So we're going to get a green screen put behind us here coming up. And I'm going to buy a brand new microphone because I'm probably going to want to do what Thomas does here in the future, and that's stand up.
It helps a lot.
It helps a lot. You kind of feel better. You get a lot more energy. And you guys all watch a podcaster on ESPN every day, and he's running all over the place. He's standing up the whole time, tons of energy, talking about football, basketball, you name it. So I think I'm going to kind of get the same setup here in Basscast Radio. But I had a really cool experience this past week, guys. I want to start off and then let you guys roll with it. I was actually on the Co-Angler podcast. And I didn't talk fishing. I talked what I love to do, and it's social media and the website as a whole. And it went really freaking well. It really did. The guys were ecstatic after we got off, which kind of blows me away. So, after doing this for 15 years, it's kind of, we're teaching another generation, and that's what I like doing. So they are looking at hosting an online class through YouTube. It will be live. It's starting in January and February. More details to come, but I will be teaching a class on there in social media. And I'm really excited about that and, giving my 2 cents and answering questions from the listeners. And other than working your ass off, there's a whole lot more to it than that. But, it's a lot of test and learn. But, thank you for a Co-Angler podcast show. I think it is only a YouTube version. By the way, there's no audio version, but that's cool. It's what they want to do because they, like I said, 99% of all their shows was and is alive, and they just wanted me to come on. And the guys took some time out of their schedule they must really want me to be on because we all record on Wednesday nights. And, that was just a thing for them, but they wanted me on. So we recorded on a different night and pre-recorded and hopefully be uploaded soon. So we got that going for us. Also, sponsorship deals, guys. We all have a lot of going on. You guys know it's that time of the year where we're working on sponsors, and we really don't want to do a Jerry Lewis telethon. I brought it up to Thomas. We can go for 4 or 5 hours to raise $1 an hour. Whatever it takes to pay the bills. But I have actually spoke to this sponsor the last 2 years, and today they signed a deal for next year. So don't, and I kind of talk about that in the Co-Angler podcast is, but that's the reason I really, I'll get excited here in a minute, but that's the reason why I tell people go to shows. I wasted an hour of my day. No, you didn't. Your face was in front of a shitload of people at an expo. You wearing your Bass Geek gear, you're fishing a DMV jersey that's hanging up behind Thomas, and a T-shirt or a hat, which we got to get Thomas a fishing DMV hat. Do you have those, Thomas?
I do not yet.
I'll tell you this: guys read hats before T-shirts. Just letting you know, that's what I've learned. They'll read a hat before they'll read a T-shirt. Just a man thing.
Merch is expensive, man. Like it's
yes, guys. Merch is extremely
expensive. It is. It's gone up too.
And just a quick rant, because we all have the holidays where you go with Thanksgiving and people are like, so what do you do? It's like, oh, you're a YouTuber and a podcaster. It's like, well, and I love them. We've all had this probably. They give you this advice, which is so it's like, why don't you just make more money? Like, no shit, Grandma, thank you. Or just sell merch like Logan Paul. It's like, that's not how any of this works.
Okay, we don't want to dive into Logan Paul, but Logan Paul has an energy drink and he also has chocolate.
And merch.
2 companies and merch. But he sells probably more energy drinks than chocolate than he does merch.
And I guess that makes sense though, because I think when you hit an apex, I call it like the Mr. B stratosphere personally, you really can charge whatever you want, but it's also like not a lot of people can actually afford you. And I think that's when you do have to become your own merch company, bait company, tackle company,
I seen where Mr. Beast was talking about how one of his videos will get as many views as the Super Bowl gets. Mm-hmm. Now, we've all heard, how much a Super Bowl ad. So who's going to pay that kind of number consistently? So you really have to diversify what you do at that point.
And that's, we have all diversified here. I know I have here the basscast.com, Basscast Radio, but like you're saying, Thomas, merch it's expensive. It really is. And to keep all that stuff in stock on hand. And I tell people, either I can buy $500 worth of T-shirts and hats and hope I sell them or give them away. Guys, it's 5 hats in my car right now. 5 people wanted them. They're still sitting in my car. No one's showing up with the money yet or send me a check. So
I have another company handle them and I make diddly squat off of them.
Yeah. Or I take that money and buy content and pay my writers to write for Basscast for On the Line, our bi-weekly newsletter, or website content that I don't have time to continuously write all the time. So, it doesn't benefit me really either way. Because, it's either you're going to follow us or not. I hate to say that. You're either going to be a fan of the show and follow us and like what we do or not. We can't change your mind. We don't have, I don't know, sex still sells, people, and it will always sell.
Whoa.
That's a good
But I'm just saying we're not in that genre. Yeah. We're bass fishing. We teach you guys about bass fishing. We talk to professional anglers about bass fishing. And Thomas brings on a lot of different guests from different, from lake reports to fishing reports to tournament winners, and he keeps with the local side of what's happening in bass fishing. So we're not a Logan Paul, we're not a lot of the other shows that are out there. So it's either you're gonna like us or not. There's no other way to take that. But get back to the sponsor and get back to expos. Guys, by the way, Thomas is going to be hosting 3 episodes. Fishing the DMV would be live at 3 episodes at 3 different expos in 2025. He's doing the Raleigh, he's doing the Richmond, and he's doing Augusta County. But that's more important, really, than your merch and just being out there and being in front. Thomas got a kick-ass setup. It's freaking cool what he sets up and what he brings to these shows. It's a lot, but I'll tell you this though, Thomas, we don't forget about it. If you walk around the corner and look at this big, huge setup, and then you got a bunch of pro anglers sitting there talking to you and all like that, and with your big banner behind you, and you're like, dude, that's freaking cool as crap. Even if you're just a tech nerd like us, a geek, bass geek, just like us. So, I mean, people don't forget about that setup compared to Joe Blow sitting down there with one little banner across the back, and he's trying to hustle his wares.
Mm-hmm.
That presentation is more important. I mean, I got my first year meeting Doomsday Tactical, which they're still in business. I make a great rod, but that's just me. I mean, they had like a bomb shelter made up with like bombs sitting around.
Wow, that's so cool.
You're not going to forget that. I don't care
No.
where you're at. You're not going to forget that. Costa, the first year I met Costa, you walked into an old freaking house that looked like it's down on the bayou that they had brought in and set up. And you walked inside that and looked at all the glasses and talked to all the people. Shit, you'll never forget about. Don't matter where you are. And it's in your mind, like, Costa, you're going to put it with different things that you saw and be like, that's freaking cool. Even if you kind of like the glasses or don't like the glasses, like, I'm going to support them because of just the way that they promoted their self. And loop that back around to going to expos. If you don't really want to promote your brand or your YouTube channel or nothing, just stay at home. Don't go to expos. Just stay, don't make the extra mile to go to the Bassmaster Classic, even if it's 5 hours from your house. Sleep in your freaking car for 2 days. I mean,
I don't want to give away any of my top secret tips for growing a channel, but I mean, it's really how I grew my channel to start with. I mean, everybody that wants to start in social media wants to be, they want, Berkeley to reach out to them. They want Loser Strike King to reach out to them. And realistically, even if they did reach out to you, they're not going to give you crap. Your best bet is to work with guys locally and small businesses who you can actually have an immediate impact on. You can go in, you can promote their product because they're doing all they can to make the product.
Yeah.
Then when they do shows, go work that show. Go work that show, work that booth. Hey, ask them if it's all right if you hand out cards or if you hand out, put the product first, not yourself.
Correct.
But ask if you can hand out stickers. Who doesn't love a sticker? It's expensive, but you know what? The saying is it takes money to make money. And if you really want to go do this, then go interview other companies. Because guess what's going to happen? When you go interview other companies, and you tag them in it, they're going to share it. The first question that always gets asked of me is, hey, when's this coming out? And, I give them a little window and say it'll be out here. We'll make sure we tag you in it so you know. Well, they're going to share it out. Now you're expanding your audience to audience that you don't have. And that may not be a lot because a lot of those people are small businesses. But when you're first starting out, it'll be a hell of a lot more than what you've got.
And since we're doing YouTuber Talk Live here on Think Media, this is I think my third business I started because I did a landscaping company from 16 till 23 that I bought and sold. I had a strength and conditioning company that I bought and sold before I got my MBA. The number one thing is make a good effing product. Yep. Too many people are just worried about the money and yes, you have to market it, but what the hell are you selling?
Yes.
Before you even try to go to a company, do you have a product that your customer likes, your fan base, whatever it is, whether it's mowing, plumbing, or YouTube? You want to beg for money, but you don't have anything of value or what people desire or want. And that's something that you got to figure out as an individual, what matters. I spent a ton of money. Before I even hit record, I made a 5-year plan. Granted, this is part of my MBA program, a 5-year plan. I made a spreadsheet and then I invested $12,000 in equipment, knowing I wouldn't get a return for 3 to 5 years. But I wanted to just upfront hit the ground with a quality product and then make adjustments based on what the people in the local communities wanted. Because I didn't give a shit what the corporate tackle, because it was just about these people. Most people don't think that. They just stick out their hand. They're like, money, please.
Yes.
I like what Geek said there. I want to expand on that real quick. But what Geek said there right there about you working a booth for a vendor. And these shows, like Geek was saying, Danielle helped out with Drop Zone Tackle last year. I mean, she felt like shit. And she helped run a booth because these small businesses usually don't have this huge pro staff and don't have all these members and stuff like that. But the cool thing about it is they're going to remember you from working that booth. And if you give 110% work in that booth, not being paid, the guy probably buy you lunch and he'll take care of you like that. And, you guys might go out to eat afterwards. And he's going to take you out. Guess who you're going to usually go out with? Other vendors. Yeah. Right, Geek? We do it. Me and Geek go out, with other vendors. And that's going to show, hey, I'm bringing this guy out with other vendors. And then they'll be like, oh, and if he knows what he's doing, aka the guy that you've worked your ass for all day handing out stickers, then he'd be like, hey, here's Brian, guys. This guy helped me out today, did a great job. We met a lot of people, met a lot of customers. And guess what that did? It just opened up a shitload of doors for you, son.
It gives you legitimacy. Mm-hmm. It legitimizes you to other companies at the expo. And that means if company A trusts you,
amen,
company B and C will automatically trust you because of that. And it's, look, I'm not going to lie to you. They're not going to pay him. Man, I probably didn't pick up my first real paying sponsor until 3 years ago. And I've been doing this. This is the 9th season, somewhere in there.
Wow.
So, A, because I didn't know worth and value. B, the truth is until you hit that 20,000 sub mark on YouTube, I can't speak for what you guys do. You're not worth anything anyway. I mean, to be perfectly honest, to be blunt with you.
Yeah.
You're worth some free stuff. That's about it. Now, make sure you understand the dollars and cents of what that free stuff's worth and what you're worth for that free stuff. Of course, always know your value, but you got to look at it like this. I've got a couple of YouTubers that are startup guys that I, have took under my wing, and I talk to a lot about it. And, that's the first thing I tell them. Look, hey, find the local companies, go buy their stuff, then do videos using it and catching fish. Because when they see those sales come in, make sure they've got a web presence. When they see that sales coming in, they're going to reach out to you. And they're going to be like, hey, man, I appreciate that. I can give you some free stuff. I probably can't pay you. Guess what? Look, 90% of the time, a beaver bait is a damn beaver bait, okay? A craw is a craw is a craw.
Yep.
A stick bait is a damn stick bait. I got news for you. No such thing as a magic bait. Oh, bubbles burst across the world right now.
Hot stuff there. Hot stuff.
But,
the mic, Geek.
Yeah, get out there and use it, man, because that's going to save you money from having to buy that stuff yourself. And you can invest and divert that money you might be buying in gear into other things that are promotional, like paying for that hotel room or that trip or, the gas money or, a McDonald's Happy Meal so you can eat along the way to get to that expo.
And to get really way down the rabbit hole here, you need to know that this is something that you are passionate about, that you're going to stick with. And that's why these numbers have to be as high as they are, is so that the companies know. Now, I'll be the first one to say, I don't know what shady room of corporate people decide, like, okay, so we all agree 20,000 subs is what we're going to use as the cap. Like, I don't know that, but I do understand that they want some validity, that they know that you're important, that you're going to be sticking with this. And if people are like, well, then what's the point in doing it? Well, if you run it like a business, you can make money right away. I'm not going to go give you a full accounting lesson, but if you create an LLC and do it this way, you will start making money immediately on tax write-offs. And that's the golden juice if you really want to get quick money into it.
Oh, yeah. And you're right. That's one thing. Again, I'm not an accountant. I'm not going to give you accounting advice. But all you have to do is make $600 somewhere along the way.
Yep.
Now I can write off my cell phone. I can write off my part of my electric bill. I can write off my truck, my tires, my oil change. Every bait I buy, that's all write off. So I'm saving on taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get back a little bit as a small business,
Yep.
until you start making a certain amount. All that stuff is
taxes like me.
well, this year that's gonna change for me. But anyway, I don't mean to get us down that rabbit hole.
But
No,
it's a
but
good rabbit
still-
hole, though. Yeah.
No, it's a great rabbit hole, and a lot of people really need to understand that. And a lot of guys don't really understand the tournament side of bass fishing, even the low tournament side of bass fishing. I know a lot of guys out there fish tournaments every freaking weekend, and they're LLC'd. They call it whatever the heck they call it.
Yes,
Mhm.
Write off
exactly.
all their gas, all their food, all their entries, you name it.
Your
And they treat
housing,
it
your
just like
travel
a business.
expenses. I
Yeah,
run
you
off
get
my
all that.
internet because I'm using it to do this right now.
Yep.
Well, around here, and it's odd enough how I learned this was around here. If you're driving down the road and you see somebody that lives in a big nice house and they got 3 cows out in the backyard, well, they're a farm.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're writing off that side by side. They're writing off that cow, that feed.
Yep.
They're losing money. And that's how they get back some of that paycheck that Uncle Sam has taken through their day job.
I know we're probably going to be pivoting conversation here, but I think that is the biggest thing for anybody that wants to get into this, to form a business. I learned this day one back when I was 16, when I was going to start my own landscaping thing, and I had some hard advice. Your goal, Tom, is not to make $1,000. It's to make, at the time, it was like 400. And it's like, well, why? It's like, well, because if you make that, you can make money off of, doing the taxes and all that stuff and the write-offs. And that completely changed my mind as a 16-year-old going forward of like how the world works. And everyone wants to think about this big number. It's like, no, it's 400 or 600 bucks depending on your state, and it opens the world to you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to the expo real quick. We're gonna loop this back around. But the cool thing about some of the expos, get out there, make sure you attend. If you go to basscast.com right now, I put together a whole entire page for the expos. I even gave my rating on expos. It's my opinion.
That's cool.
It's my website. So I kind of gave an opinion, what I thought of each one. But show up, make an appearance. And like you said, if you know a small business that you recommend their product, you enjoy their product, reach out to that person and say, hey, can I get a day? Can I volunteer for one day to help you sell baits? Dude, you ain't gonna have to say it twice. Your ass will be in a booth before you wake up tomorrow morning, because these booths, I did an expo. I've done 2 shows and never do it again. That's just me. It's hard. I don't care if they got rubber floor mats underneath your feet. You are standing in a 10 by 10 area trying to sell your wares, and after 4 or 5 hours, you need a break or you need the day off. So I mean, it's 3 to 4 days of this thing based on how big
work.
it is.
It's work.
And Geek's done a lot of expos. So I mean, and Thomas has done a couple. So I mean, it really is work.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. As a guy that gave over, I think it was 28 hours of live content over 3 days, going booth to booth, it is, but I'm also very extroverted. I like talking to people, but and it's just fun. I personally, from my perspective, where I just like to have genuine conversations when I do my podcast, not question and answer, very Joe Rogan-esque. The local shows are better for 90% of the people out there. Mm-hmm. The Bassmaster Classic and iCast is great for 1% of the people out there. And that gets lost, that if you live around Smith Mountain Lake, going to the Bassmaster Classic won't do a lot to help your knowledge of Smith Mountain Lake. But going to maybe Augusta, the new show that's, I think is it in Lynchburg?
No, it's in Roanoke.
Roanoke.
Yeah, it's the brand new Roanoke Expo, which I'm excited to check out.
When
you
is
get
that, by the way?
There's another website called thebasscast.com.
I feel like
there's a plug.
Here's some deja vu here. But, okay, sorry, Thomas. Go ahead.
No, like you said, hit the local expos, guys. Make an appearance. Do what you need to do. But get back to my conversation earlier about that. I just signed a sponsor this week, and it was a sponsor that I have been dealing with for a couple years. And I have a lot of sponsors that's just kind of happened this way. I mean, you've kind of sent them a flyer, you've sent them an email, and they kind of said, hey, not right now, but they wanted the information to see what they're really working with and what you're working with and what you were building. And a lot of people, like Thomas said, being consistent and not half-assing it. They're waiting to see what you're going to do next, and they're waiting to see you grow, and they're watching. And I talked about that in the Co-Angler podcast I did, that people are watching you. They're watching you while you're at the expo, and we can, I really didn't want to go down this way today, but we did. And I think it's great. And because I have taught another class on social media for some high schoolers, and that was quite interesting. But I mean, because no one knows where you want to do what you want to do when you're in high school, what direction you want to go. But, for us college age and above, now's the time you need to start deciding which direction you want to go. And, you don't have to go into the fishing business. I mean, you can go into what we are a part of, podcasting, YouTube, and websites. I mean, you don't have to be a NASCAR driver to host a NASCAR podcast. I mean, there's a podcast I used to listen to all the time for NASCAR, and he's never been in a car, but he keeps up and he knows what the hell's going on. So we're done with that part. But so 2025, everybody, we're only about a few weeks away. It's crazy. The weeks are going by. And I know we're all having plans and decisions to make for 2025, but our goals, it's time to set goals. I set mine at work the other day. I told I was ready to leave, and that was my main goal. But I got to stay. So, Thomas, we'll start Thomas first and fishing the DMV. And you guys, hopefully you guys check out all 12 episodes each and every week.
I thought it was 32.
It's pretty much
32. I don't know. It's a hell of a lot of shows, but they're great shows. And I'm a huge. I love watching I'll watch his Monday Night Live, and the Monday Night Live is awesome, and the people it gets on are freaking cool. But I think all of you guys really do like what we're doing right here. And I've actually watched in Thomas's live when he doesn't have a guest and Thomas shooting from the hip, the phones blow up.
That is a weird. I've always been curious about that, and somebody called in. It's just when it's by yourself, they said it reminds them of a sports talk radio. When it's two people, they don't want to call in; they just want to listen.
Yeah.
Completely random there, but yeah, actually, and I messed up this majorly because I'm so busy with this. And believe it or not, guys, I have a day job too, and I missed my anniversary for fishing the DMV, which was 4 days ago. 3 years, 3-year anniversary. We did 302 episodes of the show, 67 Monday Night Lives, 25 live walkthroughs, and I think it's 80,000 hours watched in 3 years. We went from 10 subscribers all the way up to over 6,000 in 3 years. Nice. Absolutely insane how this is rolling. I think we're in the top 200 podcasts. We're between there and 150 all the time. It's been a crazy freaking ride, man. So I don't know. I didn't think I would get this far, not as quickly as I did. So I'm trying to reevaluate my goals going forward. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride, man.
Yeah. Check out the lives. I mean, check out all the shows that he does. The live, and like you were talking about, I don't know. You guys can't go back this. I mean, me and Geek probably can. Do you remember Scott Farrell back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
He did a 11 o'clock show that come on radio, and he used to read through all the scores from the day. And it's this dude. He's still alive. I'll tell you this right now because I have checked him out. But you gotta think this is like,
hey, look, we're that old, Thomas. Okay, we're that old. When we talk about guys back in the day, the first question gets asked is he still alive?
I haven't seen him in an obituary. But it was really freaking cool because this was in the 90s. And it was so freaking weird because it was done at 11 o'clock at night. I think it's what time he came on. Our local little, I guess a old podcast version, talk radio. But it was really cool because he'd play loud, heavy metal music in the background and read you the scores. And he had this scratchy voice. I mean, it was like the scratchy voice. I need to find a clip. We'll play it on the show. But it was just really
Knicks beat the Celtics 109 to 110.
But the show was on 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
He kept you awake. He talked about sports. Mm-hmm. He broke down the scores. He broke down the tips, the game of the day or whatever he picked. and it's just really freaking awesome. I mean, and that's, I don't know where I went with this whole rant here, but it was really freaking cool. And that's, I guess, why I really love Thomas's lives and love the lives that he does by himself, because it allows him to kind of go on that rant or goes on a topic that he wants to pick. And then you guys call in to get the $20 gift card or whatever else he's giving away from whomever. But, you know, it's really cool. Like Thomas said, that you guys like being able to talk one-on-one. Guys, we're nothing special, but some of you guys think we're like famous and shit, but we're just people. And I think it's just that bond between, I have a bond now with Thomas. I called in and I spoke to Thomas. I was on a podcast show, and it's kind of like going to an expo. You went to a freaking expo. I got to talk to Bass Geek, or I got to talk to a Gerald Swindle, who will be at the Carolina Expo, by the way, everyone. And it's just that bond, or that 30 seconds that they spent with you.
It's been a crazy ride. It's been a crazy ride. And I mean, the things like the Patreon has been exploding, which is fantastic. It's a slower process than getting sponsors and stuff, but it is job security because I'm cutting out the middleman. I'm going straight to the people. And I've had a friend of mine who, again, in social media said, like, it's going to be longer, but this is how you break away, is if you get it big enough, no one can touch you. You have the FU ability to everyone. And I was like, I want to do this right the first time. And so it's been a grind, but now we got the momentum. We got the nonprofit coming eventually, because, you know, we're dealing with the IRS and crap. It's like molasses in January plus an election year. But Casting for Conservation, I'm blessed that because I stay local, I get to talk about the issues. And a lot of the boat ramps are shit. And it's so crazy. The James River, the New River, all these little places that people fish, but it's like legit. It looks like a meth lab, some of these places. We can fix that. And you don't want to rely on the government. As a guy on the board for Maryland, let's just raise some goddamn money and fix it. Let's just get it over with.
Well, that's true. I mean, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it amazes me, you know, like, you know, I go to South Carolina at least once, twice a year, you know, to go fish somewhere down there, hang out with a couple of buddies I've made through YouTube down there. I mean, I pull up to their boat ramp and they got card machines where you can slide for paying parking, you know. I mean, it's freaking, I mean, it's their ramps, even their small ramps are so good. I mean, and well kept up. I don't, you know, and I'll say this, you know, I fish Virginia and Tennessee, and for the most part, both of them are shite. They're shite.
It's just, not to go on a complete rant, but it's just also the culture, man. I'm going to be doing another show here just by myself venting about this, but there was an article in Northern Virginia about Beaver Dam Reservoir finally opened after 10 years. And they said they got this bright, shiny, brand new boat ramp. There's not a goddamn boat ramp. They didn't put one in. They spent, I think it was like $3 million on this park. They said they put in what they called a boat ramp. It was a concrete stair step so you could walk down to the water and put your paddleboard in.
Oh,
but
wow.
They branded it and they wrote it in every article that there's a boat ramp, and there is no place.
It was a kayak boat ramp.
But you also have to carry your kayak over 120 feet from the parking lot there. There's no way to get to it.
That is crazy.
But it's because you have Sarah and Karen on the board, and they just sit at home all day because their husbands are in the tech, and they're like, this will look amazing for Instagram, so let's put it just like this.
Wow.
These are the people that run a lot of these institutions, and this is how you get this issue.
That is so old school, because there's a ramp 10 minutes from this house that was built in the 70s that has the wood in the middle where you actually pull your kayak up by rope to get to the top of the hill. And you have steps, like he was saying. You walk down either side of the steps you want to walk down, and then you pull your kayak up some, what do you call them, like railroad ties or some crap like that. They're about that size. But wow, that is crazy. Yeah, we're really excited about that, the Patreon, and what Thomas is going to do in 2025 after everything's approved. Some ribbon cuttings, we're going to have some of those. So that'd be freaking cool. We can go to some of those and, you know, check out some new boat ramps. You know, there's a town not far from me, about an hour, and it's probably been about 5 years ago. They finally updated theirs, and they're the only ones in this whole entire within the 2-hour range from me that have spent money to update. They updated their boat ramp. it's on a river. They updated their kayak ramp, which is on the backside of the river because there's a power plant in the middle of it. So, I mean, they actually spent some money. So, like I said, join the Patreon, and we're going to see what's going to happen with Thomas's plans in 2025.
And the last thing, because I don't want to hog it up, is the reason Smith Mountain Lake has F1s is because of the James. The reason the James has it is because a long time ago, there was this group of anglers that said, F it, we'll do it ourselves. And they stocked the Rappahannock, and then they did the James. And then Virginia was like, well, shit, it works. And now Smith has them because people took it into their own hand. Let's just fix this shit ourselves, guys. Let's just get it over with.
And you're right, Thomas. There was a group here, and it's, God, I'm getting old now. 10 years ago, at least, they dumped them all into Smith Mountain Lake. And, it was a group of men here that raised the money. And now the states took it over because, it works.
Yeah, shocking. Right?
Yeah, we'll pay for it every couple of years. So here we go.
Yeah,
so
proof of concept. Thank you guys for proving the concept.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they liked it. So next year we're going to see some more F1 tiger bass get spread out in some of our larger lakes right here in Central Virginia. So last but not least, Geek, let's roll with you, brother.
Unlike Thomas, I do nothing planned out most of the time. It's just by the seat of my pants.
It works for him.
That's why I've been doing this for, like I said, I guess we're going on 9 years now. And, we still haven't crossed 100,000 subscribers, right? So everything I've learned is through the hard way. I've got the lumps on the head to prove it. And a few scars on the rear end from all the ass kickings I've taken. But, for me next year, the goal, I've been talking about it for probably 3-4 years that I want to do this full time. I'm learning what it takes to do this full time. I've spent the past 3-4 years really getting that education. We've put a lot of work in. I got to shout out my guy, Mike, who's waiting on me to get the hell off this computer so he can come in here and edit the videos that we shot in the freezing cold yesterday. Without him, we're probably still realistically 2 years away, or I have to save money to
hire somebody,
take a huge pay cut to do it myself, and it's a lot scarier deal at that time.
Which closet is Mike in right now? The one to the left or the right?
Let's see. Hold on. This is the door out.
For you guys who are watching YouTube,
that's the closet I keep Mike in. Right?
You gotta bring Mike. On. Mike is one awesome dude. We get
I need to bring Mike on one night.
Yeah,
Mike's a good guy. He was just to tell the story real quick, and I know I never do that, but I'm going to tell this.
No, do it, dude. This is what this episode's all about.
What's odd about me and Mike have been best friends since we were like 6th, 7th grade, and when we went to high school together, originally I went into we had a really great. At the vocational school, we had a full studio. I'd always wanted to do play-by-play for sports. I'd always wanted to get into sports broadcasting. That's what I wanted to do. Did it for a few years until, I knocked the wife up and we had changed that. Well, Mike was my camera guy through all of that, the 2 years of doing that and working with me. So what's weird is, he got out on the road, started doing the whole truck driving thing, wanted to come back and take some time off. So I was like, hey, why don't you just jump in and we'll do this like we did in the old days. And it has so accelerated this year from, the beginning of the year to the middle of the year to now. And it has blown me away just, over the past few days. We're cleaning the boat out and going through all the gear. And, thank God, for him, because I couldn't take all the phone calls. I couldn't work on the business end of it to be able to get there. He has enabled me to do so much and be so much farther ahead than what I could do by myself right now. But as far as goals next year, I mean, I'll just straight put it. I mean, look, I know, Brian, you said, but I don't care. I've already did a video on it. Come the end of the first quarter, my goal is to, we got a few hurdles to overcome in the first quarter. And we got a few contracts to sign, but my goal is to skip out the door. I don't mean walk. I mean skip in a gleeful manner out the door of my day job.
You heard it right here first,
and go fishing for a living. I'm lucky enough that my kids are grown. They've got their own, problems, or grandkids. So they've got their own careers and houses. They're self sustainable out there. So it's me and the wife, and we've stayed pretty frugal, and we're just trying to make sure all the ducks in a row. And again, a big part of that comes down to having Mike help me, as he calls himself, the best assistant in the world. And he's right.
Go ahead, Thomas.
I was going to say,
he wants to say something. Go ahead.
This is a great tie into what we said earlier about doing this. There's a difference between when you hit the moment that you are a brand. You are a brand. And if you're doing this, I think that's the moment I personally believe you seek sponsors, is when you think you are no longer just you're doing this on the side, you are a brand and you can get some help. You can make the phone calls, because it is so easy to listen to a Gary Vaynerchuk. It's just like, just spend 28 hours straight doing nothing but doing phone calls. It's like, but I got to do other things too to make this work.
Yes.
And I think you will know in your gut when you hit that critical mass where it's like, I need the help. And once you need the help, that's when you can start divvying up tasks.
Yeah.
But and I'm going to wrap it back around to the expos again. And, because I met Geek at an expo.
Yeah,
we
actually met at the
Augusta
Continental
County
breakfast the morning
of, yes.
Expo.
But I mean, what I'm saying is these relationships are built here that you might be able to plug into, like this right here. We're working as a team. We're all helping each other. This is something I've been wanting forever. It just took time.
Yeah.
There's three of us on a show. I mean, I went from me talking to interviewing people to me finding Bass Geek, to being on Thomas's show, asking Thomas what he'd like to be a part of it, to help all of us grow at one time and be able to share our skills. And even though, Bass Geek was bringing up earlier about hard knocks, learning and going through it, Bass Geek, you got 8 to 10 years of FU that now you can go out and make money off of on the side, saying, hey, this is what I did. And these are the mistakes that I made. But here I am now, and I can help you save some time along the way. Dude, you know how much money people pay you for that, Geek? We're talking about thousands. We're not talking about $50. We're talking about thousands, 50,000s, 100,000s.
Mm-hmm.
Your knowledge. And I was watching a YouTuber the other day, and they were just talking about, you don't have to have 50 years of experience. I mean, it's great to have it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can help change a life or help like Thomas was talking earlier, he wrote a plan. There are steps. If I can help Thomas cut out 4 of these steps and jump to 9, 10, 20,000 Facebook, Instagram followers by cutting out these steps, you know how many people would pay you $4, $5, $10,000 so they ain't got to pay somebody else to jump ahead of the game? I mean, that's freaking huge. It really is. So I mean, Bass Geek, don't say you have, you're gonna be there, dude.
Well, I was talking to a company today, and I was talking about being in the IT world and being there for 25, 23, something like that years. And I'm not a rocket scientist, okay? But I'm a worker. I come from a blue collar family, and I understand that learning takes work too. Mm-hmm. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes research. And I spend a lot of that researching my competition constantly, looking at other channels, looking at what's going on in the YouTube world. When I decided, and it took a long time and a lot of people trying to talk me into it, to do a YouTube channel, I spent 3 months of research of just watching learning. What do I want my channel to be? What do I want? And those videos are still out there. You know, you can see a very raw and a very rough form of today's videos, which are still, in my opinion, raw and rough, and we're working to get better at all the time. But, you know, it takes time. You know, everybody says it. The biggest thing is, you know, yes, get started, but have an ideal of what it is you want to be and why 100%. You want to be there. If you want to be there because you want to make money, don't do fishing. Don't do fishing. Listen, I can give you 8 ideals right now in other areas that are going to be a much bigger audience, have much easier paychecks, and make much more money if you want to do YouTube than I make right now.
But what you were saying though, Geek, really, I mean, to go back to the 8 years of knowledge and learning and stuff like that, you know, I was watching another YouTuber, and I think it might have been the same YouTuber, to be honest, but you know, you're taking away the knowledge that you learned documenting you building this brand of yourself.
Yeah.
And you're on top of documenting you growing as a person, as an individual, the brand, then, you know, you can relay that now into how others can build their brand and how, you know, how you can do it too. But I mean, you know, I know Tom was talking about Vaynerchuk a little while ago. It's, you know, he's got one little 30-second little clip. It's F you're gonna go do. And that's really what it is. It's F you're gonna just go do.
You know,
and you know, you're gonna give up life. I ain't gonna lie, I gave up a lot of life for this thing. I mean, I don't go to parties. I don't go. When I do
sit in here editing a video during my son's birthday party while it was going on in another room and missed a large chunk of it because I had to get this out.
Right.
You know, you're going, if you really want it, I mean, and if you're going to do anything, you got to be passionate about it. Like if you ask me, is there anything else I would do other than fishing? I couldn't tell you what it'd be. I have no clue. And, you know.
But the fishing can expand to so much more.
It can. But, you know, the thing of it is you do, I think, to be truly successful at it, and I don't know that I'm truly successful. I think I'm as successful as a dumb redneck from, you know, Southwestern Virginia can be at 50 years old in this space, who's, you know, never really fished a whole lot of tournaments and or done very well in them either. You know, I think I'm as successful as you can be doing that, maybe.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, the biggest thing is just put the work in, and you're going to have to sacrifice. You know, I'd be lying to you if I told you that my wife hasn't got mad at me because I'm not spending time with her, or I'm spending more time with Mike than I am with her. You know, it's going to happen, but you know, it's for the ultimate goal, and I think we're getting closer, and I think it's getting there quicker.
We're all getting closer.
And you know, you just have to, you gotta, I'll say it again. There's no truer words than what Mr. Gene Jensen, the OG Fluke Master, said to me. And you better learn to love the grind if you really want to do this, because what you said, Thomas, was probably the most true fact. Sometimes it's not about being better. It's really, in this space, it's about outlasting. There's a lot of people that jump in and they may be doing things much better than you, but a lot of times they cannot sustain.
Yeah,
so,
and that's
you
so
kind of.
true.
I like that, because you really do. A lot of people set that, you know, and get back to that one video that Vayner put out. You know, he said put out the content and, you know, make good content and make people learn about you. And it doesn't always have to be, you know, pretty. Yeah. And it's, you know, I listened to a YouTuber the other day, and he's talking about everybody's getting back to raw content. Everybody's tired of the pretty. We've gone through this thing now where everybody's kind of tired of the pretty. And we want to get real content back on YouTube and all that stuff.
And I guess the last bit I could really just say to this is control the variables that are controllable. And that's, what can I control? The thumbnails, how many episodes I put out. Like, I mean, I made a goal because it's about habit. So don't listen to anyone that says it doesn't matter when you put out YouTube videos. It's about getting yourself in the habit.
Yep.
And at first I said every Monday indefinitely, some crap will go out even if it's shit, just to become second nature. And then it was, I need 100 episodes. I want 200. Then it's like, I want to see if I can do one every day. These are goals that I can physically do. I'm not hoping on somebody to give me a chance. Make goals that you can achieve, because if you crank out 100 episodes, they will get better. You will get more polished, and you're going to be eating and breathing this thing. Because yes, I have, as we joke here on Basscast, I have had weeks where I've put out an episode every single day. I don't get to fish, and it sucks because, believe it or not, if you look at the trophies back there, I can actually fish a little bit. But this life, you will edit more than you fish.
Yeah.
You will be in front of a camera more than you fish. If I shoot a hidden gems episode that always trends, that is probably 8 hours of footage cut down to 8 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You don't understand that part of it. So you see the glamour, but you don't understand I'm huddled in a basement like a Ukrainian prisoner.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's life.
I like what you said there too, Thomas. That about putting in the work and about being consistency, and you have to do that. If you if Geek promises, you can kind of change as you go along. Like we changed the date. We decided we're going to start dropping on Monday instead of Thursdays because it worked better. The numbers improved, everything else. You can change the date and you can kind of change the time, but you cannot change the consistency and what I guess you say whatever you're recording, a video, a piece of content, what it is, you said you're going to drop it on a certain day and you're staying consistent with it. Because I was watching another show, if you don't post, they think you're gone. If you don't
And
put
they will go
you're
find
gone.
someone else to watch.
Yeah.
That's
They will find
probably the biggest mistake I've made over the years, especially doing it by yourself. You get sick, I got the COVID, was building a new house. It all happened at the same time. I'm gone for a month, 2 months. It took me a long time. It took me almost a half a year to build my actual viewers back up. I had the subscribers, but the views were not there. And if you look at my channel now, we've got the subscribers, but the viewer ratio is a little bit lower than I like. And it's because over the years, those sort of things have happened. Now, I do want to say this to everybody out there listening. We are not at all and asking you to feel sorry for us. We love what we do. We have a passion for what we do. It is tough to do. If you want to do it, do it. It is some of the most fulfilling stuff I've ever got to do. Like I've got to do things I've never dreamed I'd get to do. Talk to people, being a fanboy of Gerald Swindell, Aaron Martins, I've got to have real conversations with those people. I've got to do a live with, live stream on a very big tournament, do my best Fat Cat impression, So it's things that even if you never do it for a living, this is stuff that I would never get to do.
That's awesome.
Unless I did this,
Yeah, and I guess so it doesn't sound like we're all just cancer patients here. Some other 2025 goals that I have is example, I was lucky enough to finally win the Bush Award tournament, which was huge, by myself in a team tournament.
Great job, by the way.
I really want to win a kayak tournament now. At first, it was like, this is a neat thing, but the longer I go without a win, it's like, son of a bitch. Like I wanted to start focusing on the BFLs, but I should have had first, but I did something illegal and I got penalized an inch and I lost. And now I'm not going to do the BFLs next year because I'm all in because I got to win once I win a damn kayak tournament, I can then get back into more boat stuff. But yeah, and I also want to do more saltwater fishing, fishing the DMV. I get to talk to these guys about catching red drum and trout and stuff. And it's I enjoy a bent rod. It doesn't have to just be bass.
Exactly.
So, do you have any fishing goals specifically, Geek?
Catch
a world record or any kind of
no, for me, it's just get better. It's always about getting better. It's always about learning the patterns of bass. You know, I was really proud of myself yesterday when I went out and I pulled up on this spot, and I was like, I know we'll catch a fish right over here. You know, I know they start to group up here during the winter. The water temps just right, pulled up, scanned around. Sure enough, there they all were sitting on this rock pile. And, you know, 35 foot of water, threw a little out there. Had a big one come up, and I missed him. I was so disappointed. But we caught a couple off of that. And that's to me, that, you know, that's really what I think my goals are as far as like true fishing goals, is just to, on the lakes that I fish, is to get better at understanding. You know, one of the things that we really talked about at that Ionic tournament was fish movement versus fish, you know, groups. And, you know, that's something that I'm really, you know, maybe I was slow to understand that, but you always hear people talking about, well, fish move, bass move from here to there. Their movements. And I think what I'm really starting to see is that, yes, bass move, but they also move, especially on the highlands reservoirs, because, you know, you've got deep water everywhere, that it's more so groups of bass in the creek or live in that creek that move up and down it, or in sections of that creek. Bass that are on the main lake live on the main lake and don't move up into those creeks.
Yeah.
You know, bass that are on the flats live around those flats forever. You know, like, you know, talking to the kid that won it last week, you know, those fish are always there. Though that there's a difference between shad eaters and craw eaters, that there's just some bass that focus on things differently than other bass. And that's sort of the stuff that I really have been enjoying. You know, I've spent 2 years, because I got my tail kicked on the BFLs, on some big time live scope lakes, thinking I was going to come in. It's how I know relating to guys, to pros who think, oh man, I'm good with graphs. I can pick up a live scope and go. But it was such a total different game. And I realized that probably a year or two before the pros really realized that. And then I spent 2 years out there just learning that open water sort of bite. And so now what I find funny about this is, and we're starting to see it already in the pros, the young guys who are really good with scope, now they're moving it back to those shallow flats and that shallow water. And they're starting to realize, okay, these fish out here that are deep, you know, we're starting to beat them up. They're starting to be different. Your big ones, most of the time, believe it or not, your true studs are on the banks. The big, at least largemouth, smallmouth, a little bit different, spots a little bit different. But your true big largemouth tend to live around some sort of structure and cover. And that's where, you know, it's so interesting. And that's really, as far as fishing goes, where I want to begin to get better is being able to target and understand those movements and those positions and where these bass are from the shallow perspective, or on the banks. Not even shallow, but on that structure. It may be shallow too deep. And that, for me, that's, I mean, I get excited. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can tell I get excited about learning about, you know, being able to see that sort of stuff and truly learn it, and not hypothesize or have a theoretical understanding of it, which is what we've had until live scope has come along, you know.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, the truth is we've only had theories until we could see and prove and show, you know, scientific fact, you know.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, something else that I had is I just want to explore more bodies of water. I'm not a guy that wants to stay on the same lake for the next 200 years.
Yeah, I get so tired of it.
I had this guy called Mike Minnick on the show back in September. He has 24, I think, state record citations of all species.
Holy cow.
And he talked about all these lakes and ponds and shit. It's like, I never even, that's in Virginia. And it's just like, you know that there's the big 3, big 4, and it's South Holston's a great example. I've always wanted to fish there. I want to knock out all these different little places because it's so exciting when you show up a place that's new. I can't explain it. It's like going to a candy store for the first time. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, so these are our takeaways for 2025. The 2024 is almost over. I know you guys have different goals than me. You guys all know I built the basscast.com as a platform for you. It wasn't built for me. I'm a geek. I love writing code, buying techie crap, and experimenting and making things better, like Geek was talking about. And that's my background. This StreamYard investment has been one of them. Little steps each and every year that we add. This past year, we added our newsletter. So I think we got we got a website, we got a newsletter, and we got a great podcast show. And, my ultimate goal over the next few months, year, is in 2025, I want to be monetized across all levels. Geek's going to help me with YouTube. We're going to sit down and do that. I don't, if I have to drive down there and hang out, we're going to do that with YouTube because I want to be monetized on there as well for Basscast Radio. But that's it. I mean, we've got to pay the bills and nothing keeps getting any cheaper. But we don't want to talk about that. We just want to say thank you guys all for being a part of the basscast.com, Fishing the DMV, and Bass Geeks YouTube channel. And helping us grow and learn in 2024. And look forward to seeing all of you guys in 2025. I kind of want to do the show a little early. I know a lot of people wait till like the week before the new year and everybody's kind of going crazy and got other things on their mind. But I really wanted to lay this out just a little bit earlier for you guys and, what our plans and what our takeaways are for the 2025 season and what we're going to be doing for you. And, if you guys can hit the subscribe button for us, I mean, I don't want to beg, but I mean, something that takes
please.
Guys, it takes 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. I mean, and it helps. That's the first part. Watched hours is another part. Geek will dive into that and we'll teach a whole entire class one day on it. So and he'll charge you guys for it because he knows a load of information. So Thomas the same. But thank you guys, like I said, for being a part of it and being a part of the journey so far. Anybody got anything they want to wrap up real quick before we end tonight's episode?
I'm good.
You heard it there. I'm going to improve my studio. I'm just letting you guys know. I looked at another microphone. I'm getting rid of my little $99 Yeti microphone that I use. I want one like Thomas says, and I want to expand my little studio here and do more lives in 2025 with these two right here, and answer questions and help you guys in the part that I know more about. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I'm not a best angler. I grew up deep sea fishing. I fished piers, rivers, lakes, farm ponds, etc. I mean, we just did it just to eat. I didn't do it to cash checks. We did it to put food in the freezer. So, this has been a new journey for me, the whole entire process, and me taking the knowledge I learned through my IT background, learning social media, and here we are. And I think I've built a pretty damn huge platform for you to write for, show up at like we were talking about earlier, show up at an expo and volunteer for a company you want to work for or work for as an expo person. And Thomas's impact that he has made on his local community, being a part of the different organizations that he's a part of and sharing his knowledge in them. So, guys, we bring a lot of shit to the table we really don't think about. No one says anything. Yes, we really do.
I agree.
And
it's starting to feel like an AA meeting. My God. We're
going to expand on it and grow in 2025. And guys, we really appreciate you guys checking out this episode. If you enjoyed the episode, us just carrying on a conversation, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you on that. We didn't have a topic. We just said 2025. Let's talk about that. And we just roll with it. And I think it's been some of our best episodes so far. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, please hit the subscribe button. It helps all of us grow. We got to get geek free. And we got to get Thomas free as well, because you guys know what comes with freedom. It's just more great content and doing more stuff that we love right here on Basscast Radio. Have a great night, everybody, and we will talk to you all later.
Bye.